Recording.
Are we all
Hello, how are
in the
you?
right position?
Yeah,
Shall we
right,
let the
Angus,
people show it?
you know what to do. Clap us in.
Welcome to the Whisky Stories Podcast.
Yeah, I think that's what we will be.
Oh,
That's okay.
Oh,
that was a natural cut.
Welcome along to the Whisky Stories Podcast. Ian Macleod Distillers road trip. We've made it to Glengoyne.
Yeah,
we're here.
Absolutely. Great to be here. Just come from Rosebank. We're now at Glengoyne, and we're standing in the lowlands.
We are. We're in the lowlands, but just across the road at this brilliantly placed pedestrian crossing.
Yes, we want to take you to the Highlands.
Up to the Highlands.
Now, I'd like to say it makes all the difference to the whiskey. You know, maturing in the lowlands, distilled in the Highlands. It doesn't obviously make any difference, but it's just a great story.
Absolutely, and Glengoyne Distillery, a distillery that, Angus, we've talked an awful lot about on the podcast.
And we've enjoyed Glengoyne in Germany as well, and Mike Brown's obviously been on plenty of times.
Yeah.
I've never been. I'm really excited to have a look
that's
around, see what the distillery is all about.
Compact and bijou.
There we go. Ross, tell us something about Glengoyne that you know that we should know.
Yeah.
Glengoyne, Valley of the Geese, or the Wild Geese.
Well done. Yeah.
absolutely.
There you go.
Geese,
you might not use that very often, but keep it in mind.
There we go.
Yeah.
Brilliant logo, Glengoyne, Valley of the Wild Geese.
Is it the wrong time of year, or do we get geese around?
I'm not up to speed on the migration patterns of geese.
It's more October, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Right. Well, let's go.
Really glad to be here. It's a first for me too. I've
You've never been here either.
which is ridiculous.
If we do see,
you been here?
if we
Nope, never been. I've
my God.
seen it from over there as I did the West
Oh, yeah.
Highland Way.
Which
Yeah.
you hated.
I hated every minute of it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was early doors, and I think my brother, my dad, and myself hadn't fallen out
Okay.
by that point.
Okay.
It
Well,
was-
that's only 5 miles in.
yes, exactly.
That's all we need to
90
know.
more to go. This is sort of
Yeah, yeah.
really-
Looking forward to going through the distillery because we hear so much about the process of Glengoyne. We hear about how slow it is
Yeah.
and how quality focused it is.
Right.
So that'll be interesting because I think I've told hundreds of people about it. I've never actually seen it.
And of course, as well, part of this is you're going to get a wee look around, but there will be an episode where we're getting to do some blending with Jake
Yes.
Adcook.
Yeah.
Now, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So we speak very, very highly of Jake, and after that experience, we'll no longer speak highly of him because we'll be at his level, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think that's what we will be.
Oh,
That's okay.
that was a natural cut.
That was doing well.
That was going quite well.
Is it
All
working?
right.
Yeah, it's fine. The scuffs add a bit of character to the cap. We're all fine.
We'll see you in the distillery.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
The green man says walk, Ross, on you go.
Right in the line.
There we are. And this is us now, officially.
Up the Highlands.
We're in the Highlands.
We are.
Hey!
We're here.
And
We
the
made
air,
it.
the air tastes better in the Highlands.
Yes,
Instantly,
definitely.
you can see that the climate's changed quite significantly as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Gordon, tell us the story behind what we've just done, because quite a unique situation. Because we were laughing and joking
Yeah.
30 seconds ago on the other side of the road, but there is something about this where
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. This is not the geographical lowland highland. This is the whiskey line, the line of taxation, and that's so where we're distilled is where the distillery is. And I always ask the question: if we decided to extend Glengoyne and build a still house down there, would that be Glengoyne Lowland, or would it still be part of the Highlands? Never got a clear answer on that.
Interesting.
But I think it probably would still be Highland because the whole site is classed Highland.
as a Highland, yes,
Yeah.
because we're looking around here. So that's us literally just across the road, the scenery here. Now, also, we're going to address it now, and we'll never mention it again. This is the distillery that was used in the filming for the Still Game episodes,
It
where
was,
Jack
yeah.
and Victor visit the
Dumb
distillery.
going. Filtered
It
through the
was.
heather.
It
Filtered
was.
through the heather. Now, is that something that annoys everybody here if people turn up and they think this will be really, really funny,
Clark Gable
and they'll try and
actually
go
involved?
filtered through the heather?
No,
No.
absolutely. It's been in a few other films, I think.
Yeah.
As well.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's we're delighted. Any publicity is good publicity.
Absolutely. Well,
And
of
it was a
course,
very funny episode.
It was.
It was.
And actually, one of they both said in that I listened to a podcast that both the actors
Ford and
Kiernan and
Greg.
Greg
Hemphill.
Hemphill, yeah,
Yeah.
they both said that that is one of their favourite episodes they've ever done.
Yeah.
And apparently, again, based on that podcast episode that I listened to, the scene at the end when they were pretending to be slightly inebriated, they were genuinely.
So I've heard that as well. I
they'd
think
had a drink or two.
they were slightly, as we say in the trade, over-refreshed.
Over-refreshed. Well, good. Well, let's go and get ourselves refreshed and have a little look around Glengoyne.
Yeah.
This is the start of the process then.
Yep, sure. But let me be frank, this is not the water we're using for production.
No.
Okay.
So this is why we're here. This is the valley of Glengoyne. It's a small little valley, you know. There's perfect for making illicit spirits, hiding away from those beady eyes of the law back before it became legal in 1823, and actually the site became legal in 1833. It was a farm, like most distilleries were farmers, and it was Burnfoot Farm, and it became Glengoyne, and it's always been family owned. But yeah, this is the water supply that runs off Dumgoyne Hill, and not much water coming. We've had a week of dryness here, but we've had floods here and horrific amounts of water in the past.
I can imagine that if it does get very heavy, the rain does
we've
get
had
heavy,
our
you can see the
issues.
flooding,
And there was some famous footage of back in the early 1900s of bad flooding here as well, where we had our own whiskey galore moment where warehouses got washed away and casks.
Really? Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit of that,
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, but I mean, it's a pretty small site, so we're pretty much where we are with it. But this is the water we use for cooling.
Yeah.
So we use this for the condensers. We use Glasgow water, for want of a better word, for our Loch Catron water for our making of the whiskey. So for all of that. So yeah, this is every time I come up here, I just remember thinking back to maybe back in the 1830s, how small this is and tucked away, and how perfect it is for making whiskey.
Well, when you see it in a day like today, it's beautiful, isn't it? And just in time for Angus to cool down as well, right?
Exactly.
Get your socks and shoes off, Angus, and get in.
Yeah.
I was thinking as well, thank goodness they decided to call it Glengoyne. It's a better name for a single malt whiskey than Burnfoot, in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, no, this is where it all started, and we'll go and have a look round the distillery.
Yeah, let's have a see what we can find.
Let's have a
Good.
look.
Come on in.
Hello, guys.
We're just inspecting the mill.
Yeah.
Excellent, Ross. What kind of mill are we dealing with here now?
This is a Bobby.
A Bobby mill.
Ronnie Lee is servicing this as well. Ronnie Lee and his son.
Ronnie Lee driving around in a Lamborghini.
That's it.
Yeah.
I heard it was an Aston Martin collection he had. I give him a lot.
Yes, he pretty much does all of them, but this has been here for, I can't remember exactly how long, but simply barley comes into the hopper, grinds down, and then of course that will then go in 3.85 ton batches into our mash tun.
And so this was made for Glengoyne rather than you getting it from somewhere else?
Not sure, if I'm honest. It may have been here for so long, but generally they all move around. So the one at Rosebank was at Port Ellen.
Yeah, we learned. We couldn't believe it.
But yeah, the standard colour that you would expect. It's a really, that's what you see. But when you go to Tamdu, it's avocado.
Nice.
And have you got a sugar box there for Angus?
Sugar box.
I don't see a sugar box. Oh, there
you go.
I don't see one.
Oh, well,
no.
sorry,
That's
Angus.
okay.
That's
No
tough
sugar
on you.
box.
No more suggling.
That's you. All right, lads.
Hello, Graeme.
All right, welcome to the tun room.
What have we got going on here then?
This is it's an important part of the process. The creation of alcohol.
Yes.
So yeah, fermentation.
Have we got actual liquid?
We've got
Got a little bit in here.
Bubbles happening in here. If you stick, I tell you what, I put my head in there a bit too much, and I got something up my nose.
Oh, there's definitely
There's
that's a big old copper dog you've got there.
That is a big copper dog.
Couple of pints in there, eh?
I would love to try.
Okay.
Don't
say-
drink too much of it. You'll
I
get
won't.
the you know what.
I've only tried this at one other distillery,
No,
Tamdu Distillery, where Sandy McIntyre.
Have a little sip.
Yeah.
I've never tried this.
I don't know what stage we're at of the
What is this
fermentation.
Angus is drinking right now?
So this is our beer. This is the beer we produce about when the fermentation's finished around 60 hours. It'll be 8.5%.
It's foamy.
It's foamy.
It's just like
Interesting, huh?
drinking
warm beer.
Warm beer, yeah.
It's like warm Hoegaarden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a kind of,
Yeah.
How
you know,
long's-
like a wheat beer sort
Yeah.
of type thing.
Interesting. How long's fermentation in here, Gordon?
About 60 hours.
Yeah, so it's a
So it's-
relatively
yeah, I mean,
standard.
Look, I think once the yeast is finished and it's in that dead phase,
Yeah.
you know, we want to get it in the stills.
Oregon pine,
Oregon pine washbacks.
only the best. Oh, sorry.
Oregon pine washback. So have a little
How
sip
about
of
I
that.
try that, Graeme?
Taste.
What I would say is it's not particularly unpleasant.
Don't drink too much of it though.
No, I'm not going
I think
to.
that's called the Stillman's Challenge, is it not? Or is the Stillman's Challenge something to do with it?
I did drink too much of that once.
Yeah.
It still continues to do what it does in your tummy.
Yeah,
It has
okay.
a funny effect on you. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, these aren't big. These are not big washbacks in the grand scheme of about 19,000 litres. So they're
Yeah.
not huge. The ones at Tam do 52,500 litres. So you can
Yeah.
see the difference. But Oregon pine washback, big debate in the industry whether Oregon pine or stainless steel
stainless
makes
steel.
any difference. I think it's, and I'm not a distiller, but you speak to Sandy, you speak to others, not a lot of difference. But these look great.
No, they do. And the thing is about this room is, you, for people who are maybe watching this, they might not have seen the previous one. We've just come from Rosebank.
Yeah.
And you look at the big, vast space, the open space you've got at Rosebank, and what you're getting to see here is the difference between a distillery that's been able to be rebuilt
Yes.
purposely,
Yeah.
and a distillery where
Glengoyne,
everything's packed
absolutely.
in. This is a small room.
Yeah,
For
you
what
feel
you
the heat.
expect
You
it,
feel the
yes.
heat.
I think that's a great point. You feel like you're in a historic distillery
Yeah,
here.
a working distillery as well. Yeah.
1833 Glengoyne, which
Yeah.
is early days.
Well, we
Yeah.
talked about it on your podcast episode, Gordon, is the fact that as well. Is whilst Rosebank is a distillery, but it's a distillery built to allow visitors to come in, whereas Glengoyne was probably built as a distillery,
Yeah, no,
and then it was like
yeah, absolutely,
bring people in,
absolutely,
and that's what
And
the-
you see that in a whole load of other distilleries
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course,
They're
yeah.
not perfect visitor attractions because there's bits you have to do this, and Rosebank is much more that because it's been modernly designed.
It's
So,
easy
yeah.
to forget as well when you do these tours, and especially when you go outside and you see so many people on tours.
Yeah.
You still forget this isn't a museum.
No.
This is a working. Like there will be people that have to come in here, and
Yeah.
you've got tools and equipment
Yeah.
for things that people are checking. But people come here because this is their work.
Yeah, no,
And
for sure.
It's not like this is an area that you can come and see whilst the other stuff's going on in the background. It's a working distillery.
Totally, and what also makes Glengoyne stand out is we still have people that work in different areas. So we have mash men and mash women. We
Yeah.
have still men and still women.
Yeah.
Whereas Rosebank and Tamdu are both run completely by computer.
Yeah.
This place isn't. I think there's one computer in the corner. I think they play Tetris on it. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a ZX Spectrum.
I like it. Beer smells brilliant.
play
too,
Daley
doesn't it?
Thompson's
It's so
Decathlon.
good, absolutely.
I mean,
It
it's a
smells
cracker.
very kind of fruity, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it
Yeah,
does.
kind of
Yeah, it is very
bananas
fruity.
and
But the other bit that always gets me is it isn't until when you see
Yeah.
very, very easy to not look down.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what you see
Yeah.
when you go to most distilleries is you see these washbacks.
Yeah.
You see the top.
And
You see
these-
the top last
yeah.
fifth of them
Yeah, yeah,
usually.
yeah.
And
When
these
you look down
washbacks
there-
are a lot bigger than the ones at Rosebank. The
Yeah.
Rosebank ones didn't go down quite so far.
Rosebank
did
ones
they?
are a wee bit small, about 15,000 litres. But yeah. But yeah, you can see, and we did a great time lapse of replacing these, and
Yeah.
you see how they, the other thing, of course, stainless steel, you don't need to think about replacing them,
Yeah,
but
that's
here
true.
you do, and that's actually, I think, quite a new one.
So when were
2016, yeah,
these all replaced
2016,
at
yeah.
the same time? Or they
No, I
just
think we
periodically?
replaced just when they're done. I think that one's quite a bit older,
Because
so
the lifespan for one of these is
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Years, eh?
But what's interesting, where there is a little difference, it's all about the cleaning of them. Stainless steel's very easy to clean.
Yeah.
This is a little more difficult. Nooks and crannies. What's it all about? Bacteria,
Yeah.
lactobacillus, and the levels of lactobacillus. In small amounts, good. In big amounts, bad.
And does someone literally have to just climb in and just the scrubbers and give it a good scrub?
I think there's an automatic way of doing it now. I think
Right.
they use a. I'm not actually very sure.
Yeah.
Shows you I've never
No.
been here at that
Well,
point.
it's just-
Because you
it's
get
just-
wet, I wouldn't be in here.
No, no.
Thompson Brothers on their much smaller scale speak, they just have to scrub.
Yeah,
basically
they literally
scrub
get
all the
in.
dirt off the
Yeah,
sides.
and you need to get into those nooks and crannies. So I'm not
Yeah.
actually sure. I think somebody does get in.
And I
and do
think
it, so
Simon
yeah.
also said that a wee bit of that funk does add to the character as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Inevitably, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But I think if you're trying to produce a new distillery and you're trying to produce a style, whether you use stainless steel or Oregon pine, is not you're not going to pick up a whiskey 10 years later and go,
No.
this is different. Oh, it'll be it's the one.
seamless
Yeah. You're not going to do that.
And
So
honestly, what I would say is I get a really a consistent fruity character from Glengoyne, and whether that's a lot of the quality of the cask that's being used. People also do get fixated on fermentation time.
Yeah.
Me being one of them a lot of the time. We spoke about Obermore and Tomatin and doing the 150-hour fermentation time for those fruity spirits. But when Glengoyne is in particularly white oak and it gets old, it also has those tropical.
it goes tropical. Yeah, I said that
What
earlier.
are the
Yeah.
fermentation times here?
60 hours, 59, something like that. Pretty 60 across all of our distilleries.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's across, Glengoyne, Tamdhu and Rosebank, we're always looking for that clear wort. They're all fruit-driven whiskies.
Yeah.
Probably Tamdhu's a bit more oily because the stills are a bit more of a standard shape. Rosebank's Rosebank, we've just seen that, which is very unique. And these still shapes, well, we've got 3 stills, but that slow distillation is focusing on it. So you're here, you're rubber stamping that clear wort we've done from the mash tun into a fruity beer, which is going to then be distilled.
What's quite interesting, I guess, is that we've spoken a bit about your other distilleries. So, Tamdhu, Glengoyne, Rosebank, you're kind of doing the same thing then, fermentation-wise. Lagan Bay, is that going to be something different?
I think quite different, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to have initially we're going to have a cloudy wort, which is going to have phenols in it. That means it's going to behave differently here. We may choose a different yeast, and that's the process you go through, which Malcolm will be doing on Islay, in terms of what yeast he wants to use, how much phenols we're going to retain. So historically, when I was working at Lefroy, I was told that, and I know that for a fact, speaking to the guys, that if you have a 50 ppm in the barley, by the time you have a spirit, you've lost 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
So it's all about trying to retain as
Yeah, of
much
course it
that
is. What's the
PPM
point in having a
as
smoky at the front if you just lose it all?
If you end up,
There's no point. So that's why you have to do it differently. So if you create a clear wort, and I remember speaking to John Campbell about this at Lefroy, we tried a clear wort once, no smoke, very little smoke in it. Yeah.
There you go.
And one thing we've not mentioned, talking about the production here, is the people at Glengoyne. And what we see on every Glengoyne bottle is Robbie Hughes,
Yes.
the distillery manager.
Robbie Hughes, yes.
So
What a man he is. He's worked in about 30 distilleries in his life. He's been with us now for 20 plus years.
Wow.
Robbie is a wealth of knowledge
I was
of
going to say it's
whiskey.
about 105 or something this month.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
but he'll have seen
from
this
the northeast
Glengoyne
of
really
England.
become a single malt.
Yeah, he's the person who's driven it. He's driven it in terms of, the spirit that we're producing, the types of casks we want to use. So, and he like Sandy McIntyre at Tamdhu. If it's got his name on it, he wants to see the quality
I love
of it.
it.
So yeah,
Right. What are we off to next?
we're going to go and have another look at stills, and then we're going to have a look at maturation.
Excellent.
Well, this is. Do you want to do anything at this
Mash tun.
mash tun?
Can do.
Nothing in it though.
No.
People seen inside a mash tun?
We've been inside one.
All right.
There's one mash tun you can walk inside of.
Tomatin.
Up at Tomatin.
Now, what is this? Is this a
Semi-lighter.
semi-lighter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I know what semi-lighter is, but I don't know what it means.
Well, I'll tell you. So a semi-lighter mash tun is all about. We don't. When we put in our grist, we put it in with 63.5 or 64 degrees centigrade water.
Yep.
And then we have a second, like every other distillery, second water and a third water, sparged on the top. This will move around. This paddle will move around to make sure we're getting as much as we can out of there, but it will not. Those husks will go to the bottom of this, and they will create more of a sieve, and they will retain more of those solids within here, so that the liquid we get out is clearer, hence a clear wort.
Clear wort.
If you do that, as we said, if you do that with a peated whiskey, you're leaving all the phenols in here.
So no doubt
So,
a Lagan Bay different.
very
mash tun
different.
required.
Or
Or
different, or just a different way of
different
doing
way
it.
of
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Super.
there we go. About 3.8 tons of grist goes in there.
Jeez.
Nice.
Right, Angus, we've made it into the still house now.
We have.
And, another still house that we've made it into. There's a few things around us, but more importantly, right behind us, Gordon, we've got 3 stills.
We do have 3 stills.
Like
Only
Rosebank.
3 stills.
Only 3 stills, but we're not triple distilled.
Right.
So what are we doing? Well, we have on this side, we have our wash still. And then we have our 2 spirit stills.
Okay.
So the reason that we had that second spirit still was put in by Edrington and we split our low wines into both of those stills. So we're filling them to a lower level. So that means you have a very different interaction in terms of distillation, and we're not heating it much beyond the boiling point of alcohol, which is 78.3 degrees C, which means that we are taking a long time to take our spirit run. And that's a really important part of allowing the still shapes to work, and that's what we're doing.
Right. So this is where you're taking your time. You're not boiling away that fluid. It's just...
No, it's allowing the shape of the still to work. So if you heat the temperatures higher, which a lot of, if you were making a peated whiskey, for example, you wouldn't do this because it would be different. It's like you wouldn't mash in the same way. We're looking for a clear wort at this stage, and then we ferment, and then we want these stills to rubber stamp that style, which is fruity all the way through. If you have a peaty whiskey, you mash in a different way. You want a cloudy wort because you want to retain all those phenols that were in the malt. So it's absolutely the same here. So we've just got a tour group going through, but it's a pretty small and busy distillery. But
it's one of the busiest.
Yeah, one of the busiest in Scotland.
So what are you talking about? I mean, that's something we've mentioned. We were talking off camera about Glengoyne being one of the biggest visited distilleries in the country. So what kind of numbers are you looking at there?
I think we're somewhere in the region of 60,000 visitors a year, and that there's not a lot coming in December and January. So we're in August, so it's pretty busy period here. So,
and the thing is about that is like, you wouldn't know if you were to say that as a stat. If you were to ask people and say, right, straw poll, off the top of your head, what do you think the top 3 most visited distilleries in Scotland are? But it's not because it's not an easy distillery to get to. But I suppose there's a lot of passing trade that you're getting.
It's also easier than another,
of course,
at least 100 of the other distilleries.
So you can get a bus from Glasgow in 40 minutes. So that's quite popular. A lot of people, do come here. They know it's here. We do a lot of work with the sort of travel trade as well, and they're all coming from ships or whatever that are visiting. So there is a huge legacy element to this. But about 60,000. It was higher pre-COVID. It was up at 85.
Really?
But I think all distilleries are the same. But surprisingly, we were talking earlier. Surprisingly, Arran used to have a lot of visitors. I don't know where they're at now, and Blair Athol's up there, and one or two others. So
fantastic. Well,
looking at the stills very quickly as well. Small spirit stills.
Yep.
Small boil balls.
Yep.
But then you've got those condensers in the back as well, so you're still working in a unique copper contact process.
Totally.
And again, adding the boil balls, slowing down the process again, and adding the condensers again.
If you add in that lower, at the boiling point of alcohol, that vapor goes up the outside of that still. So that's what happens in your kettle. Yeah. And when it hits that boil pot, that sort of bulbous element, which is a unique shape. Yeah. Well, every distillery has unique stills, but you know what I mean? Because you're not overheating, those heavy vapors fall back in and get redistilled till they're light enough to go over that line arm. So if we even crank the temperatures up 2 or 3 degrees, you'd see a change in the spirit, and that's why we stick to what we do.
You've got to try and keep that right. And how long has that been a decision that Glengoyne has always had, or was that when Ian Macleod Distillers decided to take Glengoyne on?
No, I mean, look, it was the setup we had here, and I think when we decided to create more single malt, Glengoyne, when we bought it, was 90% malt for blends. Right. It was going into famous grouse and products like that. And in those 22 years that we've owned it, we've reversed that. We're now 20% blends, 80% malt. So that just sort of shows you that and everything we produce is the same spirit. We don't change it for the blends. We don't speed it up. We just keep it the same, and that's really important. So that is when you think about Glengoyne, you talk about Glengoyne. It's all about slow distillation, as you can see on the wall, the slowest stills in Scotland. Probably 1 or 2 people might want to challenge us on that, but ultimately it's a really slow process, and our spirit run is very long. Our foreshots very, very small, very quick. And then a long spirit run.
And filling strength for Glengoyne?
63.5.
Kind of industry standard. Fair.
Brilliant. Now, let's go and see what else we can have
absolutely. Perfect.
Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is good.
Oh, very nice. There's a nice smell here.
That's a delicious smell.
Where you get this sort of damp smell, but a damp smell with, there's whiskey in here.
Yeah.
You know there's whiskey in here.
Yeah.
And this is a nice representation you've got here. So this
I think is just a really great way to showcase colour, angel share, and cask and wood.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to talk about that to people who like whiskey and people who don't like or not so familiar, it's quite confusing. This simplifies it, I think. So in the top left of every box, we have new make spirit.
Yep.
And then at the bottom right of every box, we have a 29-year-old whiskey.
That's amazing.
Oh, cool.
So this is a year for
A year, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about colour, we're naturally coloured here at Glengoyne.
Sure.
So you can see in the first 10 years, the first shelf, colour comes in the first 10 years much more than the rest.
Yeah.
And then you just see colour slowly become a little darker, but that curve is flattening off. And you can see here on the right-hand side the European oak sherry cask. You can see the richness of the 29-year-old bottle at the bottom right-hand corner, but that colour between 29 and 21 is pretty minimal.
Yeah.
You can also see the European oak, how the inside of the cask is prepared here, toasted on the inside,
Okay.
as is the American oak sherry, but the bourbon is charred on the
yeah, of
inside. So you can understand the differences between the oak
Yeah.
and how it's prepared, so we can talk about that to people and why you get lighter colours.
Yep.
So the toasting opens up the oak, drawing out more flavours. The charring has a very different effect, but doesn't open the oak as much. And then we have refills. The really important part, of course, obviously, showcasing any of these three in a refill form. So, and then the other thing we can talk about is cask sizes, which people sometimes forget to talk about. All bourbon casks, of course, are barrels, and then we have a sherry hogshead, a sherry butt, a remade hogshead, which would be a typical, the workhorse of the industry, the remade hogshead, and then, of course, the puncheon, which is another cask for sherry.
Yeah.
So and then finally on this wall, we just show you the characteristics of Spanish oak, predominantly for us, Quercus roba.
Right.
Dried fruit, rich, spicy oak, chocolate, cinnamon. So a lot of people think sometimes because it's been matured in European oak or Spanish oak, that the flavours they're tasting is the sherry.
No.
And that's the point. You're not. It's the
weird.
oak type.
Yeah.
We once had a cask sample, Gordon. It was
Virgin oak.
and
Virgin
it was,
European
it was dark as night. It was handed out in the room. They said, "Oh, that's sherry," including me.
Even to the point people were saying that's Oloroso. No, that's PX.
That's PX,
Yeah.
and actually it was just virgin European oak.
Yeah.
It wasn't even
And it's
old
going to be,
whiskey.
you're going to get that, and you're going to be, I bet it was pretty tannic.
Yeah.
And then you have the American oak, which we use for sherry casks and for bourbon casks, obviously. So it's still the same oak. It's just prepared differently.
Yeah.
So you think from a sherry cask perspective, it's made in Spain. The oak comes from America. You're putting in 15, 18% sherry for 2 years. And a bourbon cask, you're putting it in a smaller cask, you're charring it on the inside, and you're putting in 60% alcohol bourbon for 4 to 6
And then
years.
also, how impressed we have been and almost shocked by how good the Glengoyne spirit has taken to the white oak, to the American white oak.
Well, also, I would say
This is such a good
Ross,
representation, isn't it?
100%, and
Isn't
it makes
brilliant?
it so much
It's
easier for
such
people
a
to
good
understand.
way.
But the thing is, Ross, you'll be able to tell me this because it won't just be, but over the last few months, particularly after the Tamdu 21 that we got to try early doors, and that sherry cask using American oak. There'll be other distilleries that do that, but I can't think of any that spring to mind other than, like, say, Ian Macleod Distillers that are using it. I mean,
Highland Park uses them.
Yeah,
And Edrington use them, which is not that odd because Glengoyne and Tamdu used to be owned by
but
Edrington.
do they make it,
So see,
like, do they say an awful lot about it?
So
Highland Park have done, to be fair.
Macallan double cask.
Yes,
Yeah.
American, European.
That's your example of American seasoned oak and
Yeah,
European.
which is
oak.
what we're using. So we could call our Glengoyne 15 double cask.
Yeah.
We could call it triple cask
Yeah.
actually. We could. So it's just we choose not to.
These
but,
marketing terms, isn't it?
To a certain extent, yeah.
But also, it helps. I mean, like, you sometimes see sherry cask.
Yeah.
And
And I think that was
not
it.
wrong to say that.
Without talking about, Tamdu, I remember when Mike Brown brought out the Tamdu 21 Angus, that we were sitting there, and I'm thinking, this is just going to be a hit of sherry bomb, right? But it wasn't. It was completely different.
Quite orangey.
I wasn't expecting what we got, and it was because it's like, well, this is because it's sherry that's been used in American. So it does show you.
There is a higher proportion of American oak seasoned with sherry in the 21 than there is the 18, I believe.
No, it's about the same
Or
level.
is it about the same?
Right.
So it's
I might
mainly
make
it's actually mainly European, but the way that they've selected the casks, we didn't want the 21 Tamdu just to be a richer 18.
Yeah.
Because the 18 is quite rich.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be different, and they've absolutely nailed that. So
Yeah.
that's the art of blending, which we're going to see with Jake. So
This is such an amazing display.
it's a great display because
Yeah.
it really, remember, we're whiskey folk, and we think that's a great display. If you're hearing a bus tour off that is a really understandable way of looking at whiskey.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, I say to people, people ask me about whiskey and ask me about experiences and things like that, and they say, what do you think of the Johnny Walker experience? And I'm like, well, it's not aimed at me, but it's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
I think it's a great experience.
Absolutely.
So, this is just another way of trying to explain whiskey to folk.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gordon.
No worries.
Superb.
Explain.
It's also,
Right.
It's also a good indicator of where you might have kidney disease on the.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
It's definitely top shelf, and there's in the loo there.
wait, on that note, we are getting thirsty, isn't it? So
Yeah, time to go.
Go
Yeah.
find Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right, Gordon. I'll come round here. You stand up there. We're outside a nice looking house here.
so this is the manager's house. Not now, but obviously the manager used to live here, but now it's just what we use for experiences. And you guys are going to go and do a blending session with the wonderful Jake Adcook.
Superb. Well, I have to say, Gordon, thank you very much for
Not at
showing
all.
us around Glengoyne. It's been fantastic.
Great to have you here.
And Ross, what do you make of it so far?
I'm impressed. No geese.
No, we didn't see a goose.
But-
No, wrong time of year.
but
I
I've
think.
had
Not a single goose to
We've
be
been-
But
seen.
had an excellent time. A whiskey that we already know and love. So
Yeah.
interesting to actually see how it's made.
And of course, now we're going to get an opportunity for a podcast episode to do some blending of Glengoyne as well.
Please tune in. This is going to be really, really special. I need to add more jobs to my whiskey CV, and so I'm putting this down as work experience via Macleod, being a blender with Jake. So we'll see how this goes.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Let's
Right, lads,
Enjoy.
Let's see what we can do.
Cheers.
That's our tasting, isn't it?